Welcome to the second step of Innover UK CE Wizard. As you are still a free user, we have skipped one of the key steps in this whole CE Wizard, a step where we set up the structure for your factory production control systems documentation and download the most important file in your whole FPC system, the FPC manual. But don't worry, you can still go over this step even though we have skipped these things. If you want to get an idea of what you're missing, we have included a sample FPC manual in the step-by-step instructions that you can download for free. I recommend that you download the FPC manual, and from there you can see how the FPC manual is designed, what kind of things we go over, and so on. But I guess that's enough about the generalities. But just remember, if you decide to purchase this CE Wizard, you will be able to set up your FPC system properly, download all the files mentioned in this training, and ultimately CE mark your products. In this step, we will go over the requirements that deal with controlling your company's personnel and employees. In short, the standard requires that you name the person who is responsible for the FPC system, define all responsibilities, authority, and relationship between your employees, and also make sure that your employees have the appropriate qualifications to perform their work. In this particular standard, it is important to note that there are some minimum qualification requirements for your employees who perform some of the key tasks. But don't worry, we have included all the mandatory qualification requirements in our FPC documentation that you can download. To meet these requirements, you are going to need 4 documents: the FPC Manual Sections 1 and 3.1, Personal Qualifications and Organization, Qualification Requirements, and Training Document. As a first concrete step, go ahead and download the 3 new documents from the right sidebar that have been made available in this step. After you have downloaded the files, move the Personal Qualifications and Organization and Qualification Requirements into the folder Personnel. In this folder, we will store everything that has anything to do with human resources in your company. Now, when we have some mandatory qualification requirements for your employees, we will also store the proof that your employees are qualified in this folder. And as for the training document, place it into the folder D Quality Documents. Here we will store all quality documents that needs to be filled so you can prove to your stakeholders that you are actually doing the things that you claim you are doing. In this case, the training document can be used to prove that you have trained your new employees for their work and that they have familiarized themselves with the FPC system and its requirements. But now open your FPC manual and navigate to the section 1. Here we name the person who will be responsible for your FPC system. If you have several locations, name someone to be responsible in each location. Naturally, if you want to, this can be the same employee in each location. In most cases, this employee is also responsible for your company's CE markings. But if you think that this is too much for just one employee to handle, you can name another employee to be your CE responsible. After this, navigate to the section 3.1, where we have included a section that describes how you are planning to control your company's human resources, or in other words, your employees. You will probably notice that this section, like majority of your FPC manual, doesn't require any major modifications at all. It's kind of like specific enough to meet the standards requirements, but at the same time generic enough so that we have been able to guess how your company operates. Now, we need to fill out the organization chart that we use to define relationship between your employees. There is not really any proper way to do this, but a good way is to place the name of the employee in the box who is in charge of the specific function. If you want to, you can always add more boxes both horizontally and vertically. These new boxes can include totally new tasks like billing, or go into more detail like cutting, assembly, and final inspection under manufacturing. As of now, you can leave the box for Responsible Welding Coordinator empty, as we will get back to it later when discussing about welding. But if you don't do any welding, you can go ahead and delete this whole box. And after you're done, the figure should look something like this. After you have filled out the organization chart, make sure that the responsibilities in the table are correct. Here, the key is to make sure that you define the employees who are responsible to intervene if there are any non-conformities. It is recommended that you authorize and at the same time require every single employee to intervene if there are any major non-conformities. In a way, we have included this table just to support what we will do next in the file Personnel Qualifications and Organization. As one of the standard mandatory requirements is to keep track of your employees' qualifications and experience, we have added a mention of this in the FPC manual just below the table. In addition, you may notice that we have included sections in the FPC manual for identification of training needs and training of new employees. But we are not going to go over these things in this training video. These are things that are highly recommended and are here in a way to remind you that you must make sure that all your employees are always qualified for the work they are performing, and also to remember to teach the new employees how the FPC system works. Now you can save and close the FPC manual as we are done with it. Next, navigate to the file that we downloaded previously called Personnel Qualifications and Organization. This document consists of a few tables that are used to control your employees' authority and responsibilities, qualifications, and trainings. In addition, we will use this document to control and approve those subcontractors who are not going to CE mark their products. The first table, Responsibilities and Authority, is used to assign employees responsibilities and authority in your organization. Now, assign the tasks listed in the table to someone. Naturally, you don't need to list each employee here, just the ones who have the ultimate responsibility of the given task. Also, include one or more assistants for each task. If you don't know who is going to be the partly responsible employee, think it like this. If the responsible person is on a vacation, who will be the one covering for him? You can basically do this in any way you like, and after you're done, it should look something like this. The second table, Own Staff, is used to list your employees and record their experience and qualifications. Now, list each and every employee here who participates in one way or another in the order to delivery process. This includes design engineers, buyers, managers, human resource department, and so on. So technically, just list everyone here. After you're done, the listing should look something like this. You might wonder what qualifications you should write down on the last column for welding-related qualifications and also on the I side for NDT. I ask you to leave these blank at this point, as we will get back to them later when talking about welding. The next table, Subcontractors, is used to control your company's subcontractors. Now it is sufficient if you list each and every subcontractor here who participates in the manufacturing of your products. These include, for example, thermal cutting, painting, but also things like holing. The next table is used to define tasks and responsibilities for your welding coordination personnel. At this point, you can leave this table empty, as we will get back to it later when we are talking about welding. Next, open the file called Qualification Requirements. We have made this file because the standard requires you to define qualification requirements for the key tasks and then make sure that your employees are qualified to perform them. In this case, however, you cannot freely define all qualification requirements for the tasks, as the standard sets the minimum limit for some qualifications. We have included all standard mandated qualification requirements in this single document. And now it is your job to ensure that all your employees are qualified for the work they are performing. Usually, making sure if someone is qualified is as simple as comparing their qualifications with the requirements. And if everything is okay, then good for you, the person is qualified for the work. But if, on the other hand, they are not qualified enough, then you must organize internal trainings or send your employees to get the necessary certificates to achieve the required level of qualifications. If you have some other tasks that are not already included in the document and you want to define qualification requirements for them, then list them in this document. But please, whatever you do, do not alter the existing qualification requirements as they are directly from the standard. Now we're done with the standard requirements for personnel. We have defined authority, relationship between your employees, and also taken a look at the qualification requirements. Just remember that we will get back to this issue a bit later, as we will still need to pay more attention to the welding-related qualifications. But before you can CE mark your products, there are still quite a few more steps to go, but they are more or less like this one, so not really difficult. But as a free user, you cannot continue the CE wizard any further. But I really hope that you consider purchasing the full version, and then you will gain access to all the steps, documents, and training videos, and ultimately will be able to CE mark your products. And I really hope that I will see you in the next step, the documentation.